India's rise as a major player in global services arena is nothing short of remarkable. From talent to technology prowess and business-friendly environment, they all have contributed to this growth. But one firm especially that is going from strength to strength is Expleo Solutions. And today we have with us its MD and CEO to talk about its India expansion plans and the ever-evolving market of global service providers. Hello, Balaji.
Thanks, Anika. Thank you so much. Thanks for the wonderful introduction.
Balaji, to first have the macro view of the service provider landscape, how do you think that they can leverage AI more to increase business flexibility and help their clients to outcompete the rivals?
So actually, we are living in the age of data. We all know that data is the new fuel, and leveraging the data and understanding the trends. That's where AI actually comes in. It's the question of how well you organize the data, how well you analyze the data, and based on that, what kind of decisions and what kind of insights it can actually provide. And that's where we see our opportunity as well. All our focus has primarily been around how do you leverage the data, how do you understand what is the right data, how do you actually decipher that information, which will actually help us in taking decisions faster and probably more accurate information as well. And that's where we are helping our customers, and that's where the service providers actually would be able to provide a much better tool to our customers. How do you basically classify, filter, look at the right kind of information, take out the decision-making bias, because all of us, by default, we are wired in a different way, and we have to take out those biases for us to get the right level of information. And that's where we see our value, and that's what we are actually focusing on as well. And probably that's where we can actually provide the maximum value to our customers and also to the country as well in steering to the right path with the data. I'm sure all of us would have heard, if you want to take a decision, it has to be based on data and not based on gut feel alone. While gut feel plays a small role. That's where we see our value.
Talking about decision-making bias, how do you ensure that AI governance, it delivers what is there for, and AI, and there's trust in AI-driven solutions, that ethical standards, they are taken care of? Because with so much data, of course, bias does creep in. So how do you ensure that?
So we are actually, we've been working on data governance, for almost a decade now, as part of our own organization, and also a recent acquisition that we did a couple of years back as well. And the data governance is actually now evolved into an AI governance model. Ethics is actually very important, and so is the making sure that you actually analyze the data in the right way, organize the data in the right way, get the data access to the right set of people, and what level of data they are able to see as well. And we see a significant role, at least in the next 3 to 5 years, on how do you make sure that you are able to build in the ethical standards and the governance within the AI environment as well. If we don't have it in the right way, then we've seen the perils of what can actually happen. If the data is not right, or the images are not organized in a proper way, the kind of deepfakes and other stuff that we actually see as well. While people are looking at AI primarily from a customer engagement and customer service perspective, but we see an opportunity beyond that, primarily on looking at how do you make sure that you are able to get the right level of access to the right set of people, so that they can take the business decision correctly. And all the work that we've been doing, at least in the last 12 months or so, it's primarily around the AI governance space. Ethics is something which we still leave it for the regulators in terms of how they're going to do it. Too much regulation is also a problem. No regulation is also a challenge. So I think the governments are grappling with those challenges. There are some news just even a couple of weeks back on an IAEA kind of body to look at the ethics and standards. We need to have a standard. We need to have a regulatory body managing it, but over governance or over regulation could actually kill the innovation that we can actually do with AI as well. And our focus is primarily on how do we support our customers in getting the right set of information to the right set of people.
Talking about right set of information, you also plan to address sustainable development goals through AI. Can you share something more on how do you plan to ensure that the organizations that you cater to, their operations are optimized and there's energy reduction and they build more sustainable products? Can you share a few examples on that?
Uh, sustainability or probably making the planet a lot better place to live for generations to come, rather than eating up every other resource that we have at this particular point of time, is actually a key thing, and everybody is working on that. ESG, as we all know, is something which is the every other regulator is trying to do. Some of them are doing it as stick in the box, but there are many people who are very, very serious about how do we build sustainable models. What we look at is that how do we use the data to build sustainable business models, sustainable engagement models with the customers. How do you make sure that what you can do in one instance and one interaction with the amount of resources that it required to get it done first, because one of our mottos is to get it first time right. So the more resources you consume, the more amount of iterations that you go through, it's going to actually build that much more pressure on the resources as well. So one of the things that we are looking at is getting it first time right, making sure that the models are more business friendly, and how do you make sure that we are able to reduce the time to market for the customers. How do we make it more decentralized and more neural, rather than trying and looking at every data every time, because the more the amount of lines that you sift through, the more amount of energy that gets consumed as well. So these are some of the pieces that we are looking at, but it's a fast evolving space. And what we are doing is that we are actually having an innovation led engagement within our own teams. So we have a specific area that we have given to our team members to look at what is it that we can do differently, what is it that we can identify as innovative solutions for reducing the amount of power and the amount of energy that we consume and the resources that we consume. So that's our people-led innovation, and we have some brilliant ideas coming from our teams, and they've already deployed it in some of our customer engagements as well.
Your organization is known for its people-led innovations, and Expleo has expansion plans for India as well. You plan to add about 5,000 more to your workforce here and double the number by next year. How do you plan to bridge the skill gap and also seamlessly integrate AI into the talent workforce?
We had the ambition of by Jan 2026 we should have 10,000 people. And at this particular point of time, we are half of it at this particular. But we are confident that with the kind of focus that we are putting in, and India emerging as a talent hub, there is no other geography which has the kind of potential to grow to that extent. What we are trying to do is, this is like literally refueling as we are flying, because you have a set of people, and AI is something which is evolving so much in the last couple of years, and it's going to evolve even more. And how do we make sure that we actually enable our teams to give them the right kind of tools so that they can learn as they go. And we have been incentivizing people who are actually learning. We have our own online platform, and we have also signed up with some of the leading online platforms as well. We track how many people are getting certified, how many people are going through the courses. We have our own what we call it as the mentors or the sponsors with the right kind of skill set who can actually clarify to our teams in terms of they are stuck in any of the topics, they are stuck in any of the coding. So we have a good ecosystem that we are trying to build so that we can enable the teams to learn faster. But at the same time, we are also bringing in fresh talent with the kind of skills. So we are working with some of the academic institutes. We also have our own incubation tools, which we are actually doing at the last semester of the program, or people who have actually passed out but still not landed in a role, a 3 to 6 month kind of an engagement where we are actually enabling them to learn through the process as well. And each one of us, including myself, I keep track of how many certifications I'm able to do and how much of learning that I'm able to do as well.
Balaji, talking about you come from the BFSI background yourself. And with hyper automation, what are some of the key trends that you see emerging within the global services sector space in terms of when it comes to, say, engineering and BFSI, and especially the integration of AI into these?
So that's where I think the first use case, or probably the most prominent use case, at least we could see with AI, is around productivity and customer engagement. So how do you automate? How do you create more efficiency? How do you build your productivity? And the second one is around the chatbots and the data which is being used to personalize the engagements with the customer. And both of this actually have relevance across the industries. It's not just BFSI per se, but BFSI, because you're touching somebody else's finances, it's a little more sensitive compared to some of the other industries. But we are actually working across segments, whether it's BFSI or life in the healthcare and life sciences, the manufacturing industry, particularly automobile, because the software-defined vehicle is actually the most important element that's actually happening. We are working with some of our customers around how do you make sure that you're able to look at the data, look at the usage, and give them the right kind of nudge and the right kind of information as well. We see this more as an horizontal rather than a vertical. The experts that we have, because it's while AI is a good technology enabler, you need to have the right kind of business focused people who will be able to utilize and leverage the power that the AI brings in. So we are actually looking at how do our subject matter experts, because we proud ourselves with having at least 20 to 25% of our team members who are industry experts and not technology experts alone. How do we leverage them and making sure that we actually deploy the right kind of tools after analyzing what is required for that particular industry? So AI or the digital team is an horizontal, but we have verticals which are actually focusing on use cases which are relevant for each one of them.
My last question would be that recently Goldman Sachs came out with a report where they called India the global service provider factory. It is coming up like how, but I'm sure there are inherent challenges as well that will show up in the next couple of years. Which are some of the challenges that you think that we need to probably focus on now, and how do you, as Expleo, plan to navigate through those?
See, there are two things which we have always been a service hub. Or India, at least in the last 20-25 years, we have always prouded ourselves with the kind of talent and skills that we have got, primarily as a service provider rather than a thinker. The thinking hats is where everybody questions us, even though we probably have the best thinking minds here. And that's where we see the ability of, or the confluence of, how are we able to bring in the innovative ideas? How can you actually get more patents and more ideas coming in from the country? And the second important element is the talent pool itself. While we have probably millions of engineers coming out of colleges, the employability quotient is relatively low. Right from the hands-on experience of having worked in the industry, and that's where the industry and the campus collaboration comes in. How do we make sure that if you compare ourselves with any of the Western worlds, internships is something which we don't see too many of them coming up in India. It's not that everybody goes through an internship and everybody goes through what is actually hands-on needs to be done in the industry as well. And that's another big opportunity we see for ourselves. How do we make sure that we bridge that gap when the students come out of their colleges, they know what the industry needs? Because right now they know what is there in the textbooks beyond, but they need to know what the industry needs as well. And there is a significant amount of gap between the two. And the other one is going to the places, because India is a vast country. We have people across the length and breadth of the country who are talented, but where we operate from is certainly another limitation as well. How do we make sure that we are able to actually spread both tapping in the talent and the economic benefits of this across the country? So these are the three main things which I would say that we are focusing on what we need to do. We are not very large, but at the same time we are not small either. So we see that we can actually play a big contribution in this.
If I were to ask you about your leadership style in 3 words, what would those be?
I'll let the team, I'll let the experts do what they need to do, and I bring in only my business acumen or understanding of the business, so to say. And the other one is that uh, I believe in simple things, not overcomplicate. Because in my opinion, the business is quite simple, and what the customers want are quite simple, rather than overcomplicating things. And the other one is that uh, I always believe in you need to treat people the way you'd like to get treated. That's been my motto for the last 30 years or 29 years that I've been working on. So that respect and acknowledgement is of paramount importance.
That's simple, but we're quite effective. Thank you, Balaji. Thank you for being in conversation with ET Insights. Thank you.
Thanks, Anika. Thank you so much.